There is something happening with XRP's price right now that I have never seen happen to the price of XRP before. And interestingly enough, it is having a massive positive impact on it. And I think it's only about to get greater. In this video, I want to share with you something extremely interesting happening with XRP right now and a huge announcement coming out in a couple days that's only going to add fuel to the fire. I also want to talk about a colossal bank working on the XRP ledger. Make sure to stick around for that. You are not going to want to miss it. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange upload down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. I want to start this video off and talk about something that typically wouldn't be seen as a small announcement. Now, I actually think this is huge, but I think we've gotten numb to a lot of this really good news because the price doesn't move the way people expect it to. But these are the types of things that are going to have a colossal impact on the price of XRP over the long run, and we'll just jump right into it. And this first thing is that as late as 2024, the Central Bank of Japan has been testing the XRP ledger for a CBDC. Now, what they are essentially doing is testing a private version of the XRP ledger to see if it would make a good central bank digital currency. And while a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's not the main XRP ledger, this isn't really XRP, it doesn't matter. Because if you understand anything about how this future financial system is going to be built, private chains are going to have to exist. I don't want to run my entire life on a public ledger, right? I don't want every single person who knows me to see directly into my finances. It doesn't make any sense. But if these central banks are in fact mostly working with Ripple to create things like central bank digital currencies, guess what? They're all going to have to interact with each other. And that is exactly where the public XRP ledger is going to fit a very critical role. It is so important to connect these private permissioned walled gardens because that's the entire purpose of blockchain technology. What we are seeing is a massive, and I mean massive, institutional wave coming into the cryptocurrency industry, and it just so happens that they all seem to be coming Ripple's way. Now, as of now, we have seen countless reports coming out like this, but typically people just write them off as old tests that we're not going to hear about ever again. But guess what? That is exactly what they used to say about the Central Bank of France working with the XRP ledger. And what do you know? A brand new report showing that that work is still being done. And likely, guys, you don't do this much work just to end with a big nothing burger. These are plans within plans. And what we know is Ripple has already been working with more than 20 central banks on building products just like this. The future financial system we're heading into is digitized. And all of these central banks, all of these commercial banks, large financial institutions, and really any institution are going to need to digitize their money. What Ripple is doing is working with these financial institutions so they don't have to know how to do it themselves. They are going to work with a trusted partner, being Ripple, to create private ledgers that are ultimately going to have to interoperate with the rest of the world. The public XRP ledger is that clearinghouse for all the world's transactions. So all these private permission databases can interact with one another in a trustless, neutral way. The XRP ledger is positioned perfectly because Ripple is the entity working with these large conglomerates to build out their next generation payment and settlement systems. And guess what? It's all going to come back to the public XRP ledger. Just the other month, we saw that Ripple actually took a huge step in getting this done. And that was with the acquisition of Hidden Road. Hidden Road is clearing more than $3 trillion a year and already working with over 300 of the top financial institutions in the world. Ripple is creating the infrastructure to make a brand new digital clearinghouse for the largest central banks in the entire world and all the largest financial institutions. These are all people who want to leverage blockchain technology, but don't have the capability to do it themselves. What Ripple is doing is creating a seamless bridge between it all. by allowing these centralized institutions to build products that serve their needs now and ultimately interconnecting them with the public decentralized technology. It is incredible to see that this massive prime broker is now going to be funneling trades and settling on the public XRP ledger. And I don't think it's any coincidence that at the same exact time this is happening, Ripple is working with all these major central banks. These are the types of news catalysts that the rest of the market doesn't yet understand. They don't really have this huge theory of how the next generation financial system is going to play out really wrapped up in their head yet. They still think this entire thing is about a store of value and maybe flipping some meme coins here or there. Pretty soon people are going to wake up. But in my opinion, they're not going to wake up until it is right in front of them. As soon as they see that one of these massive central banks is going to be using the public XRP ledger, they're going to be too late. And that is going to be when all the things that we have seen in all these documents back to 2013, showing Ripple with central bank A, central bank B, working with the Fed, working with the Bank of China, working with the Bank of France. That is where all of these pieces of news are suddenly going to be realized as not just some, oh, this was just a one-off test that's never going to materialize, as, oh, they have been doing this the entire time, and we just turned a blind eye to it because we didn't understand the usefulness and the mass application of the utility of this technology to upgrading the world's clearing systems. So important to understand this. It's not just a coincidence that all these tests have been going on for years. It makes absolute sense that the one cryptocurrency company looking to bring these tools to large financial institutions has been successful with the vast majority of them and working to bring these prototypes to life as we head further and further into the digital economy. Now, with that said, I want to talk about something very interesting going on with the price of XRP right now, because it's honestly something that's shocking me a little bit. Over the past couple of days, you would have expected the amount of money flowing into XRP to be skyrocketing. But funny enough, it's actually not what we're seeing. Over the past couple of days, we have clearly seen XRP go from the $2 mark all the way up to about the $2.62 mark. But what's so interesting is it's really been mostly net inflows. Money is flowing out of spot XRP. And typically you never see this. Typically, when you see huge spikes in the price of XRP, it's almost always accompanied by large inflows. And the question is how is the price of XRP moving up so quickly when there is net outflow? And guys, this is where things are going to get extremely interesting. Despite the fact that we have been seeing net outflows in spot XRP, we have actually been seeing a very large amount of inflows in the derivatives market for XRP. Take a look at the derivatives volume in comparison to what we normally see. It is skyrocketing. And this means that there is a lot of people getting access to XRP's price in the futures market. And this is what's driving up the price of XRP. Essentially, all of the volume being pushed into these derivatives is causing the perception of XRP's price to be higher and allowing the spot market price of XRP to rise, even though there's net outflows into the asset. It's a pretty crazy thing to think about, but essentially the futures market is raising the price of XRP because there is so much interest for these financial institutions to get allocated to the price of XRP, even if they can't get the spot XRP yet. So there is a huge amount of volume coming into that derivatives market. And what's even more interesting is I think that's only going to be picking up. What we know is that in a couple of days now, on May 19th, we are going to see XRP derivatives go live on the most important market in the world. We are about to see the CME Group launch XRP futures on May 19th. What we can see is there's already a clear, massive amount of volume coming in these derivatives products, and it is influencing the price of XRP. Not only are we going to get these derivatives, we are also going to be getting a futures ETF to make these purchasable by everyone, and then that will likely be the catalyst for the spot ETF. So then not only will we have a huge uptick in the derivatives inflows, but we will also likely see the spot trend reverse and see net inflows not only into the futures products, increasing that derivative volume we just talked about, but also making these net outflows turn into net inflows, even more compounding and funneling into XRP's price appreciation. And if that wasn't bullish enough for you, take a look at this. This is all happening while Bitcoin's dominance is dropping off a cliff. What we are seeing right now is a mix of the fundamental news, the technical analysis, and the spot volumes and flows all contributing to what looks to be a perfect storm for XRP's price to appreciate. In my opinion, it's absolutely shocking to see XRP appreciating despite the net outflows. But I think that's going to change in a huge way when these spot ETFs go live. I think before that, we're going to see that huge increase in the futures volume because of the CME going live with a clear mass amount of interest from people to get allocated to these products. Guys, we are watching institutional adoption of this asset class the likes we have never seen before. These are things we could have never imagined just a year ago. Pretty soon, it's all going to be up and running. And you are going to be some of the few people who figured this out before the masses, because most people simply couldn't see the vision we have been laying out for the past 5 years. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.